A baby, placed in a basket, floats down the Nile. His mother, desperate, prays for his safety. He is found by Pharaoh's daughter. This baby is Moses, and he is raised as a prince of Egypt. Moses grows up surrounded by luxury and power, yet he never forgets his Hebrew roots. He sees the suffering of his people enslaved by the Egyptians. His heart yearns for their freedom. One day Moses witnesses an Egyptian beating a Hebrew. He is overcome with anger. He strikes the Egyptian, killing him. Now a fugitive, Moses flees into the desert. Alone in the wilderness, Moses finds refuge with a shepherd family. He marries Zipporah and lives a simple life, tending sheep. But destiny has other plans for Moses. He is about to be called upon to lead his people to freedom. Moses is tending his flock when he sees a strange sight. A bush engulfed in flames, yet not consumed. Curiosity draws him closer. Then a voice calls out from the fire. "Moses, Moses," the voice booms. It is God speaking to Moses. He has a mission for Moses, a dangerous and important mission. God tells Moses to return to Egypt. He must confront Pharaoh and demand the release of the Israelites. "I will be with you," God assures him. Moses is afraid. He is a shepherd, not a leader. He stutters, he doubts. But God reassures him. He gives Moses miraculous powers to prove his authority. Armed with God's power and promise, Moses sets out for Egypt. He will face Pharaoh and demand freedom for his people. The journey will be long and perilous, but Moses is no longer alone. He carries the hopes and dreams of the Israelites with him. Moses, accompanied by his brother Aaron, stands before Pharaoh. They deliver God's message, "Let my people go, so that they may worship me." Pharaoh scoffs. Who is this God to challenge his authority? Pharaoh refuses to listen. He hardens his heart against God and his chosen people. The Egyptians believe Pharaoh to be a god himself. To defy him is unthinkable. Moses warns Pharaoh of God's power. He tells him that Egypt will be struck by terrible plagues if he does not free the Israelites. But Pharaoh remains unmoved. He will not be swayed by threats. The stage is set for a dramatic confrontation between the power of God and the might of Egypt. The Israelites' fate hangs in the balance, their cries for freedom echoing in the air. God unleashes his wrath upon Egypt. One by one, 10 terrible plagues strike the land. The Nile turns to blood. Frogs swarm the streets. Locusts devour the crops. Darkness covers the land. With each plague, Moses pleads with Pharaoh to relent. "Let my people go, and these plagues will stop," he urges. But Pharaoh, his heart hardened, refuses to yield. The final plague is the most devastating. The angel of death passes through the land, slaying the firstborn son of every Egyptian family. Only the Israelites, marked by the blood of a lamb on their doorposts, are spared. Pharaoh, overwhelmed by grief and fear, finally relents. He grants the Israelites their freedom. They are free to leave Egypt and worship their God. Section 5. Exodus. With hearts filled with hope and determination, the Israelites begin their exodus from Egypt. Led by Moses, they follow a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Their destination, the Promised Land, a land flowing with milk and honey. But their journey is far from over and fraught with challenges. Pharaoh, consumed by regret, has a change of heart. He sends his chariots thundering after the fleeing Israelites. The Israelites, trapped between the Red Sea and Pharaoh's army, cry out in fear. Moses raises his staff. He has faced Pharaoh's defiance before. He has witnessed the power of God firsthand. He knows that even in this desperate hour, they will not be abandoned. Section 6. The waters part. The Israelites huddle together, terrified. Behind them, the Egyptian army approaches. Before them, the vast Red Sea stretches as far as the eye can see. There is nowhere to go. Moses raises his staff and stretches his hand over the water. The wind howls, the sea churns, and then a miracle. The waters part, a path appears, dry land between towering walls of water. The Israelites, guided by Moses, walk through the sea as if on dry ground. The impossible has happened. God has delivered them. The Egyptian army, emboldened by their chariots, charges into the seabed, but the waters crash down, engulfing them. Pharaoh's army is no more. The Israelites are safe. The Israelites journey through the vast and unforgiving wilderness. The desert is a harsh and unforgiving place, with its relentless sun and barren landscape. Food and water are scarce, making survival a constant struggle. The people begin to complain. They grumble against Moses, their leader. Were there not enough graves in Egypt, they ask, their voices filled with despair. Why have you brought us out here to die? But God, in his mercy, provides. He sends manna, a miraculous bread-like substance from heaven. It covers the ground each morning, enough to feed the entire nation, ensuring no one goes hungry. He also brings forth water from a rock, quenching their thirst in the most unexpected ways. Even in the wilderness, God sustains his people, showing his unwavering care. He demonstrates his power and love, providing for their every need, guiding them forward. He is teaching them to trust him, to rely on him, even when surrounded by hardship and uncertainty. Despite God's provision, the Israelites continue to struggle with their faith, doubting his promises. They yearn for the familiar comforts of Egypt. They question Moses' leadership and their path forward. Their journey to the Promised Land is a test, a crucible in which their faith is forged and their trust in God is strengthened. Moses ascends Mount Sinai, shrouded in smoke and fire. God speaks to him, enveloping the mountain in divine presence. He gives him the 10 Commandments, a set of laws to guide the Israelites in their new life, ensuring they follow a path of righteousness. These laws, etched in stone, form the foundation of their covenant with God, symbolizing a sacred bond. The 10 Commandments are more than just rules, they are divine principles. They are principles for living a righteous life, guiding the Israelites in their daily interactions. They teach the Israelites how to honor God, respect others, and live in harmony with one another, fostering a community of faith and trust. Moses descends from the mountain, carrying the tablets of stone ready to share God's laws. He finds the Israelites engaged in idolatry, a grave sin against their covenant. They have created a golden calf and are worshipping it. Moses is enraged, feeling betrayed by their actions. He smashes the tablets in anger and despair, symbolizing the broken covenant. Despite their failings, God remains faithful, showing mercy and compassion. He forgives the Israelites and renews his covenant with them, offering them another chance. He provides them with a new set of tablets, inscribed with the 10 Commandments, reaffirming their bond. These laws will continue to guide and shape the lives of the Israelites for generations to come, ensuring their faith and obedience to God. Moses leads the Israelites for 40 years. He guides them through trials and triumphs, through doubt and despair. He teaches them God's laws and shows them his mercy. He is their leader, their lawgiver, their prophet. But Moses is not destined to enter the Promised Land. He stands on Mount Nebo, gazing across the Jordan River at the land promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He knows his time is short. Before he dies, Moses gathers the Israelites. He reminds them of God's faithfulness. He urges them to remain true to the covenant, and he delivers a prophecy. The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among your brothers. Moses dies, and the Israelites mourn his passing. But they are not alone. They carry his teachings and his legacy with them. They are a people transformed, bound to God by covenant and destined for greatness. Moses' story is one of courage, faith, and leadership, a tale that has resonated through the ages. He answered God's call, even though he doubted himself, showing that even the greatest leaders have moments of uncertainty. He confronted Pharaoh, even though he knew the risks, standing firm in his faith and conviction. He led the Israelites to freedom, even though they often tested his patience, demonstrating unwavering commitment to his mission. Moses' legacy extends far beyond the pages of the Bible, influencing countless generations. He's revered by Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike, a unifying figure in the tapestry of faith. He is seen as a symbol of liberation, a champion of the oppressed, a man who dared to stand up to power and demand justice, embodying the spirit of resistance. The story of Moses reminds us that God can use ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary things, turning the meek into mighty leaders. It teaches us that faith requires courage, that freedom is worth fighting for, and that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles, God is with us, guiding our path. The Exodus story continues to inspire people around the world, a timeless narrative of struggle and triumph. It is a story of hope, of redemption, of the enduring power of faith, a beacon for those in darkness. It is a story that speaks to the deepest longings of the human heart. The desire for freedom, the search for meaning, and the hope for a better future. A future where justice and peace prevail.